Welcome to the Harvesting Wisdom podcast. Together we explore the vast landscapes of life, delving into the rich soil of experiences, sowing the seeds of curiosity, and harvesting the profound wisdom that each episode unfolds.
Hi, I'm Dr. Roselle, the Chief Operating Officer for Urban Farming Education. I am super excited for a special episode of Harvesting Wisdom. We're here today to talk about Skyfire. Now, everybody knows the basics of a film festival. You have films, you have panels, but what they don't know is we have some incredible partners that are working with us. And part of Skyfire this year is going to be really to lean into sustainability systems. So we are partnering with Valley Metro, and we have sustainable transportation, and that's straightforward. We're going to give everyone a discount on tickets, but the harder part, the logistical part, is really looking at making an entire festival sustainable or zero waste, which is actually incredible. So we have two great partners. We have Denali and we have Greenlight Solutions, and we're going to dive into that a little bit, but really we want to talk about the festival as a whole and how you guys see you're going to engage with it. So the purpose of Skyfire is really simple. It's an activation that's citywide. Phoenix, Mesa, Tempe, we really want to engage the community. And yes, we want them to raise awareness about all these issues, but we really want everybody that comes to this festival to engage with our partners. I know that, Margaret, you've been great about offering all of our partners at Urban Farming Education to take tours of your plant, which is incredible. So they might not know what's going on down the street. They might not know the impact. And also, we're going to do some forecasting with the data from this festival to really talk to Phoenix, Mesa, Tempe as far as what they're going to be, what they can tell people to do when planning for a festival in the future. So my hope is that you guys are on everyone's list every time they plan a festival from this point forward. So let's go ahead and just dive right in. I'm going to have you guys introduce yourself. And then we are going to look at the questions, but we're going to go off script a little bit. I know that when we approached both organizations, you were really excited. I want to explore that a little bit as well, too. So, Margaret, why don't you jump in, tell us who you are, where you work, and why this is such an appealing project for you.
Well, I'm the general manager for Denali operations here in Arizona. Our primary mission is to repurpose food that is no longer considered fit for human consumption and turn it into some sort of fuel. We turn it into plant food, we turn it into biodiesel for your cars and train systems, and or into animal feed for the dairy cows that we have all around here in Arizona. And the goal is that none of this goes to landfill. And so this is very exciting for us to see events because Phoenix is a high tourist area. Well, Arizona in general is a high tourist area, but Arizona has a number one. We're the worst for not diverting to landfill. So starting to get into the events is very exciting to us.
And you're very active within the community. You're a member of the Arizona Compost Council. But one of the things that I think people don't know, and it's apparent when they visit your site, what's the scale of what you're doing at your site?
So we are getting over 1,000 tons of food waste and 1,500 tons of landscaping waste every month. Oh, wow. And we convert that into compost. And it's a high nutrition value, completely replaces fertilizer. And it ensures that whatever grows in the land that uses that compost is 100% organic, whether it's your trees, your cactus, or your peppers that might be grown around here, or even your alfalfa. And also very important in Arizona is the water retention aspect. Compost over fertilizer has a 3 to 4 to 1 better water retention, so it reduces our water footprint as well. When you look at those numbers, that's 60 trucks a week that are diverted from landfill.
Which that's an incredible amount. You talked about kind of the circular system where food comes in, it's processed, it's turned into something that has value, then it goes back out. And not only does it help you grow, but it also saves water. So it has this tremendous impact.
Yes. And it also has a savings for whoever it is. Diverting it from the landfill can be anywhere from a $2 a ton savings to a $16 a ton savings. So for businesses, it's a savings. For municipalities, for event organizers, it's all also a dollar savings. So you're doing something good for the environment, you're doing something good for our water here in Arizona, and you're doing something good for your bottom line.
So talk to me about your backstory. How long have you been in this industry for?
Well, as a person, I've been a backyard composter for 10, 15 years. Of course, I grew up, my grandma composted. I didn't really know what that meant, but I've been there. But with Denali, it's been about 18 months.
Okay.
And it's been very exciting.
Well, you have the opportunity to work with a lot of federal agencies too, and we appreciate your role at the Arizona Compost Council. So talk to us about, and it's interesting because they actually rely on you as a resource. So talk to us a little bit about how you interact with the EPA and other government agencies, so you're a leader in the space.
Yeah, so the EPA late last year came out and visited our site to see how we're managing dust control, odor control, fire mitigation, et cetera, because in compost, all those things can be problems. A lot of people think of compost as being smelly, dusty, and dirty. And if you're a fire department, you think of the risk of the fires. And so we've been working with the EPA and also the city of Phoenix to really make sure that we can show how you can mitigate all of those concerns that you might have about compost. Certainly we're working with the Arizona Compost Council on some legislation about using compost and replacing fertilizer with compost. Again, it's a dollar savings, but it also helps our water streams because you're not putting that fertilizer in there, and then it makes your food organic.
And in the bill that just dropped from Representative Cavaro is House Bill 2819. We're super excited about that because it's gonna increase or help with the vendors, including yourself, in the state of Arizona. So we're really excited. So that's great. So Ashley, you're the one that kind of operationalized it because Margaret's company takes it, processes it, and pushes it back out. But tell us about Greenlight Solutions and how you make the partner with the organizations like Denali and help festivals or even any event process the waste in a meaningful way.
Yeah, so really, Greenlight Solutions is a nonprofit that advances green careers and green business. And one of our main programs is the Green Team. And the Green Team goes to events of all sizes, whether it's 50 people, whether it's 50,000 people. And we really divert that waste from the landfill and help them with sustainable procurement, really everything that you need in that waste strategy and the boots on the ground to ensure that we can maximize the diversion and really make it a zero waste event.
So I know I've worked with you before. We worked with students from the University of Nazdod, and I think a big part of what you do is communication, and you use metrics.
Mm-hmm.
So and that's one of the things that's really exciting about this partnership. So talk to me a little bit on how you use those metrics to kind of to talk to your partner, but also talk to the community about the impact for each event.
Yeah, I mean, so the impact reporting is crucial to what we do because, sustainability storytelling and really making and raising awareness about the impact that we're making is crucial for the attendees and to really make this a norm across events, knowing that sustainability can't just be an afterthought or a nice to have, but it needs to be a part of the operations of every event that you plan.
Okay, and that's very, very important. So now this question is for both of you, and I want you to kind of take it from both of your perspectives. I know that a huge problem when taking waste in is source separation. So you and I have talked about this. I've seen you in action at certain events. Mm-hmm. So partnering with an organization like yours helps. So talk about the interaction between the two of you and how your work at the front end helps process that at the tail end.
Yeah, so we're that first intervention point. So we do all of the planning on the front end. We help with the sustainable purchasing. We're the glue between the partners. We make sure that we have several waste streams. We talk with the haulers to make sure that recycling dumpster goes to the recycling MRF, that compost dumpster goes and gets composted. We make sure that all of those pieces are in place. we get all the volunteers. So we do all the volunteer recruitment, all the volunteer coordination on the ground to make sure that we're doing that bin guarding and raising awareness. Those volunteers are standing at the bin, making sure that attendees know, hey, that goes in the recycling bin, that goes in the compost bin. That's education that really makes sure that attendees are leaving with sustainable habits. They're not just helping us at the event, but they're leaving more sustainable than when they came. But we also have the staff. So we're doing all of that waste sorting at on site, making sure that every piece of recycling gets recycled and every piece of compost gets composted.
Okay, and I've seen it in action. I'm not going to say what event it was, but wow, lots of patience. Nope, it doesn't go there. Nope, it doesn't go there. Nope. And it was a conference that was in the industry. So so you're there in every bin to help educate and help change people's habits, right?
Yep, absolutely. You know, we got the staff, we got the volunteers, and the amazing partners that are making sure that we're really maximizing that diversion.
So Margaret, how important is that to you to have the source separation at the site? When it comes to you, you have some confidence, a lot of confidence that it's been separated out. What does that mean to you?
Well, it means a lot to us because we ultimately do sell this compost to nurseries and farmers. So we absolutely can have glass, and metal really impacts our machinery. So having that source separation is very critical to make sure that the event is a success and we don't get the contamination and we get the diversion that we want, right? Additionally, the education piece of it, that's the long-term growth. So as she said, as every attendee should leave having a little bit better understanding of what it means to source separate, which is just going to help us in the long term. And I think it also brings down the ultimate cost to the event, because that's really their biggest concern. They, of course, have got interest in the sustainability and the landfill diversion, but it's how do we bring down the cost and really make it successful? So we're not just talking the talk, we're actually talking the talk and walking the talk. So having them at that all the way from the very beginning, getting the right kind of compostable material, helping them through some of the misconceptions about, compostable straws, they all dissolve. Well, there's much better products now that don't do that. I can't have plastic bags. Well, yes, you can, because there's now compostable bags. So really educating the event as well that this is possible is huge for us.
And that's our long-term goal. And it's interesting. I just went to an 11th grade class. It was in Paradise Valley, the Crest charter or magnet school. And the first thing I asked them was, why aren't we all using compost? And they said education. So what you guys are doing is absolutely great. Now, along that line, I know, Margaret, you're going to be partnering with Thunderbird Global Management School, part of ASU, and you bring in your boot camps. Talk to me a little bit how you already engage with education and get people involved, like hosting interns from ASU's graduate school and your boot camps, which we partnered with you on. It's really a push towards getting graduates or getting people in the field to think about that green lens and how they can apply it. So it's not just festivals. You're really advocates for your cause and for your profession, and you're making ways into the education institutions. So talk to us about your green boot camps. And by the way, I would do it 100 times over again. It was so much fun. Talk to us a little bit about what that's like.
Good. Yeah. So we do Greenlight boot camps, and that's really our classic program. And that's where we bring students and businesses together to do sustainability projects. So students apply to work on a sustainability project with the business and really help make a tangible, direct impact before they leave college. It's amazing for applied learning, experiential learning, gets them visibility into what practical skills they really need on the job to be effective sustainability professionals. So they get that experience, they get a whole resume full of experience if they do these Greenlight boot camps with us. So, it's really just helping bridge that gap between higher education and the workforce to get students into green careers.
Well, and honestly, you make it fun. And I one of the things I sometimes see when I go into the college classes, there's a real hesitation. I was this way. I have 4 college degrees, but I always thought it starts after. And you're saying, no, it starts now. So Margaret, I know you're hosting the kids from Thunderbird this summer with the Arizona Compost Council, and they have a really great plan to help with marketing for compost. So it's going to help Denali. it's going to help the Arizona Compost Council, but you're giving them something that Arizona Compost Council can as a nonprofit. We can't at Urban Farming. It's real applied knowledge. You're kind of pulling the curtain back and really getting them to see before they go out there. So talk to us about what excites you about that process as well.
So what's really exciting to me is I think oftentimes in education, you learn, the book learning, but there's not that applied understanding of how am I going to actually be able to get a paycheck and grow and become a professional and live the American dream. Like, this is what we're very excited about, this partnership with Thunderbird, is to show them that in this space, it's not all nonprofit. There is a very solid business case. And as we were discussing before this podcast, businesses need to understand that for every dollar that they can divert from landfill, they're actually saving themselves money. And so starting with this business school endeavor that we're doing is to really start to propagate that understanding that it's not, green isn't something that costs me money and I'm going to do it because I feel good, but green will actually save me money if I fully understand what I'm putting my cost to.
Okay, I'm so glad you said that. That is such a great message, because in urban farming education, that's one of our primary messages. There's in the Arizona Compost Council that it has to have an economic benefit. So if you have a model that doesn't make money, it's not going to fly. And we talk about the pillars of sustainability. You have to think of the community, you have to think of the environment, but you have to include the economy as well. So I think that some nonprofits, they fall into that trap where they focus on one of the two spheres and forget the economy. So it's not sustainable. So hearing from a business that says, no, it's a real thing, we're checking all the boxes, that's great. So I've taken my time like this, and I wanted you to talk about your business, your nonprofit, all your programming, because I think it's going to color how you're going to participate in the film festival. First of all, I knew we had a great partner with Margaret, that when we had our kickoff, you showed up with the t-shirts from the movie. I'm like, okay, this is a perfect partner. But how do you envision you interacting with the community? Because you're not there just to watch movies. You're there really to educate, to advocate. So let's talk about that. How do you envision Denali really engaging with the community as part of the film festival?
That's an excellent question, because we are primarily a business-to-business endeavor. So how are we going to, have a story for the everyday film goer? And it's really to show them behind the scenes, I guess, to have conversations with them behind the scenes of what their restaurant is doing to recycle used cooking oil, to recycle their food scraps, to recycle the food that the restaurantee, the patron doesn't eat, so that they have an understanding that it doesn't all go into the trash can, or it doesn't have to go in the trash can. That when they eat at a chain restaurant, I won't mention it on the podcast, but they are in this with us. Yeah. So that's probably the primary lesson that will come from that. I think also just being behind the scenes and our name will be on the sorting bins and that sort of stuff. So they'll understand that there is a business here that's supporting it, right? It's not just nonprofits that are trying to help them make their environment better.
Well, that's an excellent point, because you're talking about citywide systems and you're a national company, but you're talking about citywide systems that are done so well, they're almost invisible. Mm-hmm. So people, I think, take it for granted. So I think raising awareness that it's already happening and talking about some of the metrics are really important. So I think that's going to be great for them to see. What about Greenlight Solutions? What most excites you about raising that awareness and getting people to understand what it is you do?
Yeah, I think what's going to be important for this festival is not just preaching to the choir and not just getting our people to the festival, right? It's getting our friends and our family to come to really, make that deep connection and understanding of why sustainability is so important and why it's such a buzzword and why we care so much. When you understand the why, you'll engage with it more and think about how you can make an impact every day. The United Nations Sustainable Development Goals talks about how every level of government and higher education and businesses and also people at the individual level need to take part and really think about why we're doing what we do. It's because we had that aha moment. We had that awareness, but a lot of people haven't. And it's because we don't have that connection to nature like we used to. It's because we don't have, we don't understand the farm to table and those connections. So I think environmental films are so important for that, to give people those aha moments so they turn that awareness into action.
So one of the big things about urban farming education and this film festival's purpose is we want to close the gap between information and action. And we've really been purposeful on the partners we pick. So really what we're thinking about now is, what action do you want to see people change? So I know that you have some pet peeves on material coming in, whether it's green waste, whether it's food scraps or whatever, but let's talk about that. So if you had a hope for making people aware of and them coming in, what behavior would you want to see change? Whether it's, I don't want to give examples. I want you to talk about it. So what is your biggest hope? That they're saying, if I could change this behavior, it would really help the cause. And that's a message we want to get out there.
Is using things that are not reusable, or not reusing things that are reusable. So like one of my pet peeves is I'll see water bottles. Water bottles are an excellent temporary carrier for water, much better than having your coffee cup walking around. But then taking that water bottle, walking past a drinking fountain and throwing it away and going to buy another water bottle. It's like you could have just stopped at that drinking fountain, refilled that water bottle a couple times, or maybe bring your lidded device with you. Not even using that. But that to me, or not repurposing something, going to an event where they have some plastic cups, and instead of just going and asking the bartender or whatever to do a refill, we throw away the plastic cup. And that's one of the things I'm very excited about this particular event, is we're going to be having films about sustainability. And then when we go out, they'll actually see, the participants are actually going to see the festival walking the talk.
Yeah.
Right. Our vendors are going to be doing everything we can. And then when they get ready to throw something away, they're going to see that we're actually going to repurpose as much of that as we can. So that's what I'm excited about.
Yeah, we actually thought this one through, didn't we?
Yeah.
So we're very excited. So what about you, Ashley? What behaviors, I know that there's some volunteering going on, but what are some of the behaviors that you want to see change?
So I guess in general, it's buying local. It's using your purchasing power. When you take an Uber, choosing the green Uber, or if you're only going a mile, do you really need your Uber? But it's things like that. It's always reusing instead of thinking, is this going to go straight in the trash? Those one use things. Going to your farmer's market, that makes such an impact. So things like that. At the festival, really, attendees can take part in a very simple way. Just engaging with our bin guard volunteers and saying, if you're not sure what's recyclable, compostable, hey, just ask them so they can be a part of the impact. An endeavor like this, making this huge film festival with 5,000 attendees, with multiple film locations and restaurants, and it's a big endeavor to make zero waste. So we can't do it without the attendees. We can't do it without the attendees being part of the impact and just helping us to make, to put items in the right bins, and just being a part of it that way.
Okay, so here's the exciting part. You don't have to wait till March 27th, 28th, 29th. Both organizations have programs that you can engage with them now. So if you're thinking, well, I'm an individual, why would I need Denali? They have programs. If you're a group like Urban Farming or the Arizona Compost Council, you absolutely can engage with Denali. The same thing for Greenlight Solutions. So talk to us about individuals. How can they take advantage of your site or groups, some of the different programs that they can start thinking about right away to help their community be more sustainable?
So certainly at the community level, if your city right now doesn't have, or even your homeowners association or your condo association doesn't have some sort of composting program or organic scrap food scrap program, then reach out to us, because we can help. Even if it's not us, it could be any of the other composting companies that are in Arizona. We have quite a few of them, but we will get you to the right solution so that you can do that. Certainly, if you don't know what a MRF is, because Ashley brought that up, The city of Phoenix has an outstanding one, and we can help coordinate a tour of that with your school group or your individual group. Your book club, also the composting site. We're on the city of Phoenix land. We operate their compost site, so we can, bring you out and show you what does it mean to be an industrial composter. And there's quite a few partners on the Arizona Compost Council that also provide classes. We do some classes with the Desert Botanical Gardens. The Arizona Worm Farm does some great classes. So those are all resources that you have if you don't know what all this means.
And I have to say, I went to the Vulcan Mine. That was the coolest field trip. But then I did the tour of your facility. I'm like, nope, this is way better. I don't even want to spoil it because it's such a great field trip or tour. So I know we have educators from some of the school districts, but also some of the universities where they want to take their kids out. And a big part of it too is you made a great point. If you want to do a documentary on composting on sustainable systems, come out and see the source. So any student that's out there is looking for this year or possibly next year to do a documentary, definitely make sure to reach out to Margaret. So, okay, so how can the community get involved with you?
Yeah, so, multiple ways. If you're a business, you can engage with our student program if you want students to come out and do a sustainability project for your business. But then also, if you're an individual, you can donate. We are a nonprofit, and if you want your dollars to go to direct, local, tangible impact, we're taking waste out of the landfill. We are doing student scholarships, so our students can get amazing careers in sustainability on day one of their careers after they leave college. Over 90% of our 400 alum say that Greenlight was their number one talking point in their job interviews. That got them their great sustainability careers. And so that's a real kind of piece that says, hey, when you do sustainability with Greenlight, you're going to get an amazing, effective sustainability career.
You've said that before, and that stuck with me. And so that's one thing you two have in common. There's just not a lot of opportunities sometimes for kids to apply knowledge. So I know you do it, and I know you're definitely open to it, and you're jumping in with both feet and hosting kids. So that's something that's just you don't see it everybody wants it, but when we reach out, not everybody jumps in with both feet. So one of the last things I wanted to talk about with you guys is this was one of the easiest partnerships I've ever had to set up between you two. Talk to me about how that's gone and what your hopes are for working here and again and more in the future.
Yeah, I think that this is event number one. Really, I think we both have the same goals in terms of, hey, let's raise awareness and let's make tangible impact and take waste out the landfill and compost more. So, it really just seems natural and, and the tip of the iceberg, really.
Yes, and I really think this will be the start of the vision. One of our objectives is that if you went to, say, a spring training game, that the hot dog you're eating right now and you throw away just a little bit of it in the trash can, next season's going to be the grass on the field. And the only way to make that happen is to have good partnerships like this, because we don't have the education. I'll give a really quick story. Disneyland in California started this program of sorting, and it went excellent. We were partners with them. It went excellently. So then Disneyland said, let's do it in Florida. And it went horribly because there wasn't that education that was constantly done to, and not a dig on the residents of Florida, but they have a lot more international visitors, et cetera. And so we're kind of the Disney World, Arizona is, of the country right now. We are the worst in the 50 states at recycling, and partnering with Greenlight. I expect that to be, we're going to become the best in the country in taking that hot dog and making it the grass.
Well, and honestly, there's a reason why I reached out to both of you, but you in particular, with the bill going through for the compost, there's just a lot of expertise that we need help, and I don't have that experience. So having a partner like you that can talk about how to do it, where the pitfalls are, where you need a little bit more support's been great. But I love the vision from both of you guys and actually educating people on how this could happen. And in a lot of cases, it's not, and that's one of the things I'm finding out more and more. It doesn't require a lot of money. It just requires just a change in behavior. That's it. But the benefits are huge. There's a huge cost savings. There's a benefit to the environment. And honestly, altruistically, knowing that that hot dog is going back in the grass and it's going to help versus help, pollute the environment, it's such a great outcome. So, you know what? Look forward to seeing both partners at the Skyfire Film Festival. And I talked to both of them before the podcast. In some capacity, we're going to do an activation. So you will have the opportunity to interact with both organizations, talk to them about their vision, mission, and everything that's going on in the community. So it's not just about movies at Skyfire. It's about activations. It's about education. It's about connecting with great partners like Denali and Greenlight Solutions. So thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining the Harvesting Wisdom podcast. Click subscribe and like for ongoing insightful conversations. Explore our webpage for show notes and additional resources. Visit our guests' webpage for deeper insights. Your engagement is the foundation of our journey, and until next time, keep pursuing wisdom.